Welcome to the Treehouse Life podcast. This is the place where we take you behind the scenes of our builds, our adventures, and the stories that shaped our journey. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. We are Treehouse Life, international designers and builders of tree houses, rope bridges, and nature-led adventure structures created for families all over the world. And today we're going to look about turning unused land into a guest magnet.
Wow.
I know.
Okay.
Very exciting. So you must have
posh, doesn't it?
It's a guest magnet.
Guest magnet.
I know. So
Yeah, I like that.
posh. So in our previous episode, you touched on the fact that there are some pieces of land could be used but aren't used for the guest magnet. So do you find that is in most resorts that you talk to?
Absolutely. I call it redundant space. But
Redundant space.
As posh as guest
magnet.
Yeah. But yeah, so often in the best hotels and the best brands, they've got space and land that is beautiful and, perhaps photographed as part of wedding photos or whatever, guests staying at that hotel, but the way that space is used can become ROI, return on investment.
Absolutely.
If they have woodland space or sort of...
woodland space lends itself very nicely to tree houses. Yeah.
Often it's there. It just exists. It's sort of surrounding the footprint of the whole estate, the property estate.
And what about... Because we mentioned last episode, you built this new place in Spain. What about slopes and things like that can't be used traditionally for play?
Yeah.
Can you do things like that?
Absolutely. We love gradient slopes. We love woodlands, obviously. We love, heathland, rivers, lakes. All of that opportunity sits right at the heart of how we design and deliver.
And have you seen how unused land has actually become incredibly valuable for a resort? Have you any experience of that?
Yeah, absolutely.
When? In which resort? Or when, obviously, we're not naming names, but in terms of...
No, but it's always there. I was actually with a site consultation last week.
Okay.
And exactly this scenario where existing business and they've got customers and clients, and the way it works has been set for many years, and a sudden realization that they're not providing space for kids' adventure,
and they've got plenty of unused land. Haven't they?
And part of the reason they've not currently got space for children's play is that their mindset is seated in, where am I going to put a playground?
Yeah. The flat playground with the roundabout
slide. So that's where they stop, because they think, well, we don't want a playground because playgrounds are noisy and playgrounds don't create any return on investment. No, it's sort of out of the back of the cafe and, so it becomes this sort of almost a negative thing. So they've not gone down that route. Yet, actually, when they look at who are they trying to attract into that hotel or resort, there's the potential for superb family occupancy.
So what did you do in this instance? Did you find a piece of space that they would never use for anything?
Of course, they had plenty of space. There were woodland areas that were overgrown. There were woodland areas that just had not been touched and weren't part of the bigger scheme, weren't part of the other offerings that they had. And they had amazing, superb other offerings, location and weddings and business and, these sort of traditional high-earning opportunities for resorts and hotels.
So what did you suggest that they do?
Yeah, well, we walked into, and, some of the space was reasonably, we couldn't physically walk into it. It's sort of overgrown, but I can identify well, anybody can identify, but I can look at it in a different way.
Well, we discussed that right at the very first episode. Is what you're not looking at the site, are you?
No.
You're looking at the elevated
The opportunity,
play.
yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And often, again, the client won't know or understand that because where they've come from is that everything's ground-based.
So when you're doing looking at a site, you're not looking at the ground per se? You look up?
Look up. So we're up in nature. So in this site visit last week, I was immediately looking at, there were some amazing trees. There would need to be some clearance.
Obviously,
but that's easy. It's just taking down some foliage.
Yeah.
But again, we often encourage our clients to think about sort of keeping a lot of that, because actually the play can be above all of that. Mm-hmm. So running over a rope bridge that's over a rhododendron, don't take out the rhododendron bush to create the ground space, build something over it or through it, because that provides the adventure.
So on this particular site visit, it's difficult for the clients to get their heads around a playground. Yeah. How do you talk them through, actually, look up? Look up?
Yeah.
And this is what we can do. How did you do that with them?
Just exactly that. I mean, just take them. They often own the space or they're running the space, but they're just not looking at the gold dust that they potentially have. If they have 3-5 trees, that can provide the canvas that we can work with. We don't have to use all of those trees. We don't need to attach to those trees, but the trees can provide the solution, the journey, the experience, the opportunity. Often when you look at one of those trees, and it was the case last week, I think it was an oak tree, totally overgrown with ivy. And because of that, it was sort of hidden. You could hardly see the tree.
Oh,
but when you really started looking, I said to the client, look, there's actually a really amazing tree there. Look, it's been growing there for 200 years, And, I hadn't really seen it, And once you sort of clear a little bit and you look at it, now we wouldn't, what I noticed in that particular tree, and this is often the case, there were some gorgeous alignments of branches. There was a sort of V created so often, between the trunk and I said, look, wouldn't it be amazing to sort of walk through that V? So you're above that V.
You're in the tree.
Yeah, you're literally walking through the canopy of this magnificent tree that's been there for a couple of 100 years. It's everything around it is overgrown and therefore become redundant. And to sort of amplify that point even further, the hotel group were using the space immediately behind this woodland as a dump ground. We walked into it.
Oh, wow.
And where they were dumping everything.
Because nobody saw it. Yeah.
It was sort of just behind the woodland, and obviously they could clear that.
Yeah.
But it was almost
completely redundant.
Sort of bedded into the whole mindset of this location, that because none of their guests could see the woodland or behind the woodland, they wouldn't see the rubbish that had collected there over 25 years. But actually they had missed the golden opportunity of this exact same space becoming a really talked about destination.
So why do you think so many resorts fail to capitalise on things like this?
Because we haven't existed.
Right.
I think that sounds...
but you also think it's lack of imagination.
Yeah. We pioneered a treehouse company 25 years ago, and with longer standing, so it didn't exist. I think also and the two things work hand in hand. The fact that this client, and it's the owner of the resort that found us online and invited us to come to a site visit. So it meets my criteria beautifully, because
he's reached out.
It's not a gatekeeper.
Yeah.
I think these resorts and hotels are thinking about experiential stays. And that can be satisfied in a number of different ways, but one of the ways that can be exploited is to provide true adventure and creative play.
And then that's, in your opinion, what makes the difference between a guest experience and just a structure that's situated. Did you get the job, by the way?
Well, we're working that through. This was last week.
Yeah.
So reference to the previous podcast, this is right at the beginning of that relationship.
Yeah.
And it fitted that model. So, somebody finding us online, initiating a conversation, our reaction to that is immediately to meet on site. And that's where I was last week. With the owner of that site. It's been the whole estate has been in the family for hundreds of years. And he's the current holder of that estate, and a very successful hotel resort setting. I mean, they do amazing business, and they have an incredible sort of weddings business that goes on there because of the how beautiful the whole site is, but missed and realised that they wanted to appeal to families. They wanted more for the pull factor of people staying with children. But why would they stay with children? They have the nature walk. They have the river. They have a sort of 5-mile walk that you can take. So they have all of the ingredients. What do they do when they've come back from the walk, or what do they do as an alternative to the walk, or how can they build on that to take the next 25 years forward in terms of attracting?
And so what you do on a site visit in this piece of unused land beside a dump is not, first of all, you ask the client to look up.
Yes.
And then you take the client through their guest experience, through their customer experience. And is it just for children and families, or are you creating a customer experience for other people, like, I don't know, couples or somebody who wants to go on a retreat by themselves, or luxury guests?
Children obviously are at the heart of this.
But it's not just them, is it?
No, absolutely not. And I don't know, maybe this is an extreme thought, but to their existing highly successful wedding business, how cool.
Get married.
Could that be to some
absolutely
or additional business?
Yeah.
If you want to increase 10 weddings a year to 12 or 15, that might be the...
And that's a small, intimate one, isn't it, in a treehouse?
Well, there are those thoughts. We also find that what we do appeals emotionally to the grandparent. The grandparent remembers traditional play and imaginative, creative play more so than
we
modern parents.
Yeah, well, we're of grandparent age.
So often it's the grandparents that are absolutely the endorsers of what we do, because they recognise they want to take their grandchildren to somewhere that allows them to explore nature and to look at nature and be within nature in a playful, adventurous way. It becomes the differentiator. If there's a location that does amazing weddings and it's got the children's playground, and then there's another location that does amazing weddings and it's got adventure play, then...
I suppose if you're really creative as a resort, you can then, if children aren't invited to the wedding, you can then use the treehouse as a place to entertain the children whilst the wedding's going on. But that's down to and that's a different experience as well, isn't it?
It is, but focus on the wedding day. Maybe that's the Saturday. What do we do on the Sunday?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
rather than leave the resort or go home.
Absolutely. You might spend more time there. And I think importantly, it needs to be said, Jo, you there are more memories.
Yeah.
More emotional connection. So the wonderful wedding, so wonderful in so many ways, but wow, wasn't it fantastic on the Sunday when everybody had such fun in the adventure space? That doesn't happen in a playground.
No. You chuck a child in a playground for 5 minutes and they get a little bit bored and they go, what do we do now, Mummy?
I think so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So in your experience, how do resorts turn these spaces into revenue? Have you had feedback on the resorts that have the space has actually surprised them in terms of revenue or bottom line that they? I mean, we're imagining that you can use a tree house at a wedding venue, but have you actually got any feedback or experience of?
Yeah, we have. I mean, we created a rope bridge as a feature within a woodland space. At the time, it was possible to say that was the longest rope bridge in the UK.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Now, we've done that a number of times.
It's get longer and longer, but at the time...
But, in that setting, which is a visitor attraction setting, there were 14,000 guest visits to the rope bridge in its first weekend of opening.
Oh, wow.
So direct to the question of ROI, these people were paying...
Oh, my goodness.
Paying entry
money.
Fee.
Yeah. To walk across
to come
the bridge.
into the woodland space. This is a woodland space with a tea room and, you might regularly go there a number of times a year with your family on a Saturday, on a Sunday, on a weekday to, have a walk and enjoy the space. The addition of the rope bridge, and it was across a canyon.
Wow.
It wasn't...
In the UK, we've got canyons in the UK.
Well, it's like a sort of ravine canyon coming down into a lake. There were plenty of other parts. It wasn't something they needed at a sort of functional level.
Yeah.
It wasn't...
this was definitely for the experience, was it?
Yeah, absolutely. It was the addition. And sort of paid for itself in one weekend in terms of cost and revenue. And there's the photographic evidence of the queue winding around the woodlands to have the experience of coming over the
that's amazing.
rope bridge. So that's sort of one small example of where you're thinking there's going to be some sort of marginal improvement. There's another setting, and we talk about hotel resort. This is a caravan park.
Okay.
Which is equally interesting, that sits at the caravan park is at the top of a cliff.
In the UK?
Yes, in Devon. Beautiful caravan park, static caravan park with everything that's going on. It's a high-end caravan park. To get to the beach...
Oh, steps.
Yeah, and it's a cliff.
Yeah.
So there are steps.
Yeah.
Steps were built in the war.
Yeah, I'm sure they were, and they're about this big.
And they've eroded and disappeared.
Yeah, scary.
And it was discovered that by putting a rope bridge across a river, created a new path that was otherwise, because of the river, unachievable. So
to the beach.
Yeah.
So making it more accessible.
Yeah. So suddenly that caravan park, it's not taking an income directly from the rope bridge in that instance. I don't know, we've shifted
we're talking about model. Actually how people use space, aren't we? And how people
redundant space,
exactly. And how people make. And now we moved on to how people make money. So although it's not directly, we've got 14,000 people, there must be more people coming as a result of being able to walk down to the beach, because that's part of where you go to Devon, isn't it?
And of course it demands, we are creating creative, imaginative spaces that speak to adventure and whole family experience. It requires the site owner to be thinking imaginatively and creatively. Yeah. That's where these opportunities arise.
So in the caravan park, did the owner think, I think I need a rope bridge to get to the beach? or did you come up with the idea? How did that happen? How did Caravan Park contact you for a road bridge?
Yeah, it's a great question because they definitely weren't at the outset. I think for some years he had been challenged by how can we connect up to a new route to the beach. Obviously, the beach is a huge. We talk about redundant spaces. In this situation,
it's a
the beach is the gold dust redundant space.
Yeah.
Nobody could get to the beach.
Yeah.
The only way they could get there is back in their cars and drive down to the road to another access.
Or take their life in their hands and try the steps.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the gold dust is the redundant space. But yeah, back to the challenge. He's not thinking, oh, let's go and find a rope bridge supplier that'll answer all our problems. They were challenged, and in being creative, stumbled upon what we do, whether it was directly or not. Suddenly had that sort of light bulb moment that, perhaps if we can get across the river, perhaps if we can get to the footpath that's beyond the river, join the dots. And that became a conversation. And as we've discussed, Joe, immediately a site visit. It needs us to turn up and look at the river and the access. And, how can we deliver that? And that's becoming a live project. Also because the nature of our rope bridge is minimal or zero impact. So the solution is beautiful because they haven't got to build concrete foundations. They haven't got to work out how they get a crane into the location. That makes it impossible for other routes to that footpath. They might have thought about
you don't really think about that, do you?
No. So it's a double winner because A, it's a great solution across the river. B, it's minimal impact, and C, it's super attractive. Isn't it cool that you can now go and stay in the caravan park and go over a road bridge?
Absolutely, to the beach. It
becomes a sort of hidden asset because they can talk about that. It's Instagrammable,
Definitely.
So when it's customers are looking at 2 or 3 caravan sites on the coast, Devon, this one pops up because we can get to the beach, we can go over a road bridge, there's a journey. The journey from the caravan park and you end up on the beach is a nature walk.
How lovely.
Given by nature, free. There's trees, there's fields, there's cows.
There's a river.
There's the adventure, there's the hour that you might choose to take on that journey because you're not rushing.
Yeah.
So you'd otherwise get to the beach down the rickety stairs in 10 minutes, but this route, it might be an hour's walk, but that's to its advantage because we're walking past trees.
Yeah, if you want to get there quickly, get in the
field and all of that.
So do you have any other examples of monetizing, or not just monetizing, but the whole guest experience changing from having put a rope bridge in or a treehouse in ways that we wouldn't normally think? Because I would never have thought of, the rope bridge or down to the beach.
Yeah,
it's brilliant.
It's I think a good example of that is perhaps our approach to yoga or health, wellness, wellbeing, Pilates spaces.
Do people use them for studios?
Yeah, well, I think this is to my point that hotel resort might think, okay, we'll run some yoga classes and embed that into our program and we'll attract. And where do they put the yoga class? In the sort of depths of the hotel. Often it's a studio. That makes it sound posher than it really is. When you look at it, it's a sort of redundant room in the depths of the hotel, but very unattractive. And of course, for the people doing yoga, zero connection with sunlight. Morning yoga facing east, sunset yoga facing west, and also the journey to it. So again, for a hotel, they're thinking perhaps yoga, Pilates classes. Why not put the yoga space in the woods?
Lovely.
It can have a roof so it's sheltered. It can be open to the elements so that even if it's raining or snowing, you can do yoga and you're in touch with nature. But we can align that. And as with our kids' adventure play, something we always talk about is the journey that you take
to the yoga studio.
Get to that. We did a project, and I'm sorry to talk about all these exotic locations.
No, I think. Oh, are you gonna make me upset now? Where have you been?
Project in the Seychelles.
Oh, poor you.
Very, very high-end resort experience.
How lovely.
And in this instance, Joe, it was a London-based architect who was the architect for the whole resort project in the Seychelles.
Right.
But they were a London-based, big London-based architect practice. They designed the entrance to the spa across and through a rope bridge.
Oh, before talking to you?
Well, they designed this and they sent me their handwritten sketch, hand-drawn sketch of a rope bridge. So what I'm talking about here is no need for the rope bridge. They could have just had a ground deck built walkway, but they wanted to create the experience or add to the experience. So the opportunity of going across
how lovely.
a rope bridge into the spa for your luxury spa day. All of that was accentuated by the rope bridge experience.
It began with a rope bridge experience, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it just made it so much more.
Yeah.
So when you arrive at the spa facility, you're already in the space of adventure and sort of being a bit more in touch with nature and having a sense of being wild. So you're better ready for that spa experience compared to just a ground-based walkway.
Through them,
Experiential, touching on the emotions and the journey.
And walking into a relaxed space, relaxing as you walk into a relaxed space.
Huge success in that instance.
I bet.
Huge success. It's photographed constantly. It's the sort of place Mick Jagger goes on holiday.
Oh, nice. So really, really luxurious.
Super high end. You can only arrive by helicopter.
Oh, nice.
So you can imagine the sort of guest profile in that environment. Understanding from that brand, that hotel resort brand, that a rope bridge in that instance immediately adds a sort of playful, adventurous element. We've had projects in shopping malls, in spaces like that can be very pedestrian and mundane.
Yeah.
Once you put a rope bridge into that setting.
So where have you put a rope bridge in a shopping mall then?
In Qatar.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. And so for the brand that's thinking about the experience of their customers walking into a shop, for example, or walking into a restaurant.
Is that what they were doing?
Yeah.
How wonderful,
Yeah. And it's just interior design people, it's brand owners thinking about the guest experience and how they can, not how they can control that, but how they can influence that at a brand level.
And of course it's inviting, isn't it?
Yes.
You see a restaurant with a rope bridge, you see another restaurant, where are you going to go?
Yeah.
Where are you going to see if you can go
and
to?
take the family.
Yeah, absolutely, and take the family.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, I don't know whether this has happened, this is me, when I was thinking about what kind of experiences you could have. You see in resorts, you see, mainly in the Maldives, you see people on this little piece of sand, just the two of them with a waiter and their food.
Yeah.
Do hotels ever use tree houses to do dining experiences and things like that? So I want a romantic experience at a resort that I'm in, and they deliver that kind of thing as well?
I think
private.
Yeah, I think that does exist. I think that's definitely something that we are thinking about as a company. And what you described there is really high end. It might be that you're staying in the hotel. It might be a 2-week holiday in that hotel. But for one night during that same experience, you book the Treehouse experience.
Yeah, that's exactly
or 2
what I was
nights,
talking
or perhaps
about.
it's limited. You can't book more than one night. You're not allowed to book 3 nights.
No.
You can only book one night.
Yeah.
And there's a premium price associated with that, but you go to stay and have the fundamental basic experience of Treehouse.
Yeah.
That's the luxury.
Yeah.
That it's raw and wilderness and it's wild. You have everything that you need, but perhaps a chef turns up.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. That kind of whole experience, that private dining experience. Yeah.
Absolutely awesome. Yeah.
So are there any other things that you've done that you wouldn't expect to have done?
Yeah, there's an amazing project we did for the RSPB. And as you might imagine, the site was redundant woodland.
Yeah, back to the redundant woodland,
It's, where people go to see birds. But there was the opportunity to create a tree-suspended elevated deck.
Oh, wow.
Above the trees. So there was some really steep gradient that you got to the edge of the gradient, and that's as far as you could get.
Right.
So from that position, you then looked out sort of below to the land falling away, but no access to it because it was so steep. But we created what we describe as a treetop walkway from where you ended up.
To a viewing platform. Did you create the viewing platform as well?
So we created the viewing platform, and that was entirely suspended from really magnificent trees. So it's free floating. And so you walked out on the tree canopy walkway, you get to the elevated space where you could then witness birds and fauna from a really different perspective, and then back from that along another walkway. So an amazing experience.
And what's the feedback been like on that?
Incredible. People were blown away by it. The fact that we were a company that could deliver that to commercial standards with certifications and practices.
But the experience of the bird watchers as well must be absolutely awesome.
It's a really new experience. Yeah. And it comes right the way back. Our experiences our feet are on the ground. We're looking up, aren't we? We're looking up at the tree. We're looking up at the birds. We're looking up at the squirrels and everything else, the bees, everything else that's going on within that space.
But actually, when you're there, you're looking at them, not up.
Yeah.
At them.
Well, you're with them.
You're with them.
You're in their space.
Oh, wow.
And you're in a safe space. And
is there other photographs of that on your website too?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So we're not just talking resorts, are we? We're not just talking back gardens. There's all sorts of
experiential tourism.
Yeah, that's a good word. Yeah. Should we trademark that? I'll put an IP on it. Experiential tourism. So that's part of what you bring.
There's nothing new about experiential tourism, of course. But, whereas, I don't know, many, many years ago, you'd need to get on a plane to see the pyramids or, see zebras in the wild. Yeah. That's experiential tourism. Yeah. But that can be equally close to home. Yeah. Because, of course, there's wildlife in woodlands.
Absolutely, which you make accessible.
And it's not all about the wildlife, not all about the woodlands, but that becomes the canvas within which we can work. Ultimately, it's about human emotions and connections, and doing that together as a family becomes something so obviously much more than a kids' playground.
Absolutely. Gosh. Yeah, much more than a kids' playground and much more than just for children as well, although you started the children. So in order, if I was a site owner, any owner of a piece of woodland or unused space, what do you need to assess whether something is possible? What do I need to say to you? I've got this space. What can we do with it? How do you assess whether or not?
Allow us to explore that imaginatively with you. I think you just need the wish to have that conversation. It may be the case that something is not possible, but it's invariably the case that we can come forwards with
what is
imaginative
possible.
solutions.
Lovely.
And show somebody. And we have the depth of experience and knowledge to know, so it's not just a sort of crazy idea, it's something that we've built before or built similar before, so that we can draw upon all of that experience, knowledge and know-how of a business that's been doing this for 25 years and work out with you and share with you our understanding of ROI and how that can add flavour, value, but also additional income.
Fantastic. And as a resort owner or anybody who owns a big piece of woodland and they don't really know what to do with it, all I have to do is pick up the phone.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thanks for listening to the Treehouse Life podcast. If this episode sparked your imagination, follow along and stay connected. You can find more of our work, stories from the treetops and adventures around the world at Treehouse Life HQ. Until next time, keep exploring.